What is up, my friends? What is the story? How are we? I hope that you are all in fine form this evening. Mark, straight in, gifting a membership. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. What a great way to kick off the show. I've been here a little bit early today, so I've been reading through a couple of your comments, and it seems like some positive vibes out there around the possibility of AIT-NOURI, which of course we'll be discussing tonight. We're going to talk about how Dwight Yorke seemingly lost his mind. A little bit on some other transfer stuff for Liverpool around defenders. Some comment from Darwin. We're going to talk about Bajcetic and the fact that he'll have a full pre-season. A little bit more on Calafiori. There's loads actually to go through tonight, and the news continues to come in thick and fast. So, as always, sit back, relax, and I'll do my best to get you through the next 2 hours or so. Anything that you guys want to kick us off with, let me know in the chat. And again, do drop a like on the stream if you haven't done so. Yeah, we're good to go. No Euros today, so how are we feeling about that? It was an odd one. You know, I got up today and it kind of out of habit flicked the TV on, and you're thinking, no games on today. Now, we do have Copa America action tonight, but for us football junkies that have been used to seeing 3 games a day, 2 games a day, it's weird now knowing there's no Euros games till Saturday. But I guess that gives us a chance to focus in on the Reds and what's happening with us. Dwight Yorke is a clown, said Rachel. No argument, Rachel. I'm fully in agreement with you, my friend. One sec. I just got to turn my phone on to Do Not Disturb. It's a mad one. Look, if you don't know what we're talking about, really early on, Dwight Yorke suggested that Manchester United should go all out to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold, which, let's be honest, is just all kinds of silly. It's just not going to happen for various reasons. The most important one being, it would be a huge backward step for Trent in his career, let alone the fume that would come along with it. And while we're talking about people saying silly things, hello Triple H, how are you? Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the legend that he is, and I am a fan of the WWE and certainly Mr. Triple H, but when you hear what I'm about to read out to you, you'll understand where I'm coming from. So, the legend that is Triple H posted to say, when you have the opportunity to bring together 2 of the world's most passionate fan bases, you take it. Excited to see the WWE and Manchester City's collaboration come to life. Hunter, my man, you know a lot about a lot of stuff, but you don't know about football, and you really need to be educated on saying passionate and fan bases alongside Manchester City. You're going to be disappointed. Unless they can magically do their usual and invent the fans that are there and tell you it's a sellout crowd, I wouldn't be getting my hopes up, bro, because they don't really have a fan base. That's the sad news there from Mr. Triple H, but let's wait and see. He'll find it out the hard way, though. Should have gone to Anfield, mate. Should have gone to Anfield. Or maybe it wasn't available because of Taylor Swift and Pink rocking the place. Right. Thanks for my membership, Ace and Tino, said Liam Griffiths. Absolutely top man, Liam. Thank you. Did I hear about... No, I didn't hear about that passing Maraximi, mate. No, I didn't. Kevin De Bruyne getting mad at the Belgium supporters. Why? Are Belgium supporters unhappy with them? I don't know. Belgium have been weird in this Euros anyway, but I don't know what he has to be getting upset about. But look, it is what it is. Am I going to watch Núñez today? Yes, 2 a.m. kickoff for that one. Darwin taking to the pitch for Uruguay tonight in the Copa America. I will definitely be looking at that. So look, let's start off today and go through this chronologically. So I'm going to start off with the first story that I'd seen today, which is that Kvaratskhelia link. This one's a weird one. If you watched the video earlier on, you know where I'm going with this. But of all the people to have declared Liverpool's interest in Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, I didn't expect it to be Clive Tilsley, who's an incredible commentator and one of the goats of the industry. But this link here for Liverpool's interest in Kvaratskhelia apparently comes from Clive Tilsley, who claims the Reds are interested in a move for Kvaratskhelia this summer. Now, I've always enjoyed his work, and I hope he's right on this one, because it would be an interesting one. You know, Antonio Conte has laid his cards down on the table and said there is no chance that he is going to allow Kvaratskhelia to leave Napoli this summer. That's kind of at odds with what his agent and his father have said, but apparently Antonio Conte believes he's got reassurances from De Lorenzo, I think it is, or De Laurentiis, sorry, the Napoli president, that maybe Osimhen will be going, but Kvaratskhelia, according to Antonio Conte, is going nowhere. Jamarv said, hello Craig, watching from Greece. My name is Jim, hoping for the best for you and your family. Thank you, Jim. Much appreciated, mate. Love Greece. Been there a few times myself. Are you on holidays or are you living over there? Either way, thank you for your kind words and thank you for tuning in. Family are brilliant, thank you, mate. Really appreciate you asking. I like Clive. He's one of the best, said Rachel Todd. Absolutely. I have nothing but respect for Clive. He's an incredible commentator. And as I mentioned, one of the goats of it. So I'm not trying to knock him. I'm just saying it's a very interesting person to have gotten the link from. Uruguay playing Bolivia, said Darkness. Right, look, I'm going to get into it. AIT-NOURI, let's talk. Because this coming in from, I think it's an Algerian side of this. Anyway, it's certainly not a UK-based article. But they say that Liverpool are in pole position to sign Rayan AIT-NOURI. So, Connor, you know where we're going with this for the first poll of the night. Would you take AIT-NOURI at Liverpool? Can we get that up as the first poll, please, Connor? Because I think I know the answer. But, of course, as always, I'd like to put it to the Anfield Agenda community. For this one, for me, look, I think it's a good link. It's a sincere link. I think it's a link that we can say has some credibility to it because Liverpool have been registering an interest in him for a while. And I'd have AIT-NOURI at Liverpool, I would. I think that would be an astute piece of business if indeed, of course, we moved on a fullback. So let me know your thoughts. The piece that I read doesn't mention a transfer figure, so I'm kind of in the dark on that one. But as a player, more than happy with AIT-NOURI. Right, what's this Mark sending me? The reason De Bruyne is upset is because Belgian fans were booing them. He told the players not to go and do the clap of appreciation to them, so they booed him when they got a Player of the Match award. Yeah, look, it's never great when an international set of fans and their captain or a player don't really have that connection, which seemingly they don't have at the minute. But it's been a weird one. I mean, they've been perennial underachievers on the international stage, Belgium, with some of the quality players they've had in recent years. So maybe the fans have just had enough. I don't know. What's his injuries like? It's a fair question, and it is one that I don't have the answer to at the moment, but I'm sure somebody in the chat will do a little background check on his injuries. One thing, is he cheap? I don't know, mate. I don't know the price. That's one thing I've been honest about. I've seen loads of links, but no price being mentioned. But honestly, I mean, I would pay between 40 and 50 million if needed. I know that's a steep number, but I think it's a fair number as well. You got to remember, Premier League to Premier League always comes with somewhat of a premium. So for me, AIT-NOURI, I would pay 40 million upwards. Right, here's his transfer record. It's not too bad. I mean, let's have a look how many games he's missed. So 22-23, he had an illness which kept him out for 5 days. 21-22, a 17-day groin injury. He had a head injury for 10 days. I mean, the longest spell he's had out is a broken jaw in 1920, which, to be fair, isn't anything that he can control. And that was 78 days that he was out. But other than that, he seems to have pretty decent track record. No more, no less than most players. A couple of weeks here or there with strains and stuff like that. But certainly nothing that jumps off the page to me as worrying. Last time AIT-NOURI got an injury was last year and was only for a week, said Toes. Philip said £35 million max for him with regards to the fee. Robbie Salmon said €45 million or about 38 million quid. Storm said, Craig, this is my first time watching your stream. I'm from South Africa and my name is Luke. Well, firstly, Luke, let me take a minute, mate, to welcome you into the community. I hope you enjoy what you see and I hope you enjoy interacting with the people in. And we do appreciate you dropping in, my man. Don't forget to drop a like, and if you haven't subbed as well, mate, please do. Did Craig get a new camera? No, I just spent some time the other day. Myself and my wife had a couple of hours spare. And we just messed about with the camera a little bit, trying to get it crisper, the lighting better. And I feel like it's a bit brighter and it's a bit clearer, but I guess the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and you guys have been giving me positive feedback on it so far, so hopefully it's going well. Right, AIT-NOURI, let's have a look at the initial voting on the poll anyway. Would you take AIT-NOURI at Liverpool? And 76% of the early votes are saying absolutely we would. Luke Hankinson, welcome in, mate, and thank you. Hope you're well. I'm alright, man. I'm alright. I'm not too bad. A bit of a headache, but I think that's just from tiredness. Other than that, I can't complain. I like pudding. Good man. Nothing wrong with it. Do you mean pudding from the sense of English pudding, i.e. dessert? Because I like a bit of dessert myself. As you can probably tell by my physique. I'm watching from South Africa, said Emilio. Love your channel. Thank you, bro. We have so many amazing people that tune in from South Africa. I think I've mentioned it a few times. 4th highest viewership, I think, of the channel for us comes from South Africa, which is, it actually blows my mind, to be honest with you. Right, but on AIT-NOURI, if we bring in AIT-NOURI, are we all on the same page that we'd have to sell Costas, probably? Because we don't want to be overstacked. So if we brought in AIT-NOURI, for me, I think we could afford to move on a fullback. And Costas is the one that I think could move on. Because you've got Joe Gomez that can cover both fullback positions. You've got Robertson. You've got Connor Bradley. I think we'd be okay if we brought AIT-NOURI in to remove Costas. And it feels like the club are open to Costas leaving this summer for the right move. Certainly, even the journalists that are being cautious about our transfer business have put him on the list of ones that are potentially available should the right offer come in. What's my favourite cheese? I'm not a big cheese eater. You know, I'm an easy singles person. Just the only time I really have cheese is when it's going on top of a burger or in a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. So I'm not really a cheese eater. My wife, she's a little mouse. You know, she'd have a cheese plate for dessert over a good, decent dessert like a chocolate tart or something. I don't know why I came up with chocolate tart there, by the way. There are 50,000 desserts better than that, but somehow that's what jumped into my brain. I love Costas, but yes, I think it's time, and his time has come, said Callum. Costas to be sold, said Rachel. If Costas is happy to be around, would be good, said George. I mean, I think he is happy to be around, George, and I kind of echo what a lot of you guys are saying. No ill feeling from me towards Costas at all. It would be purely just an upgrade, in my opinion. Costa seems like a lovely guy. Anyone I know that's bumped into him or met him said he's very, very pleasant as well. Looks like a good character to have around the dressing room. I've never really seen him make that leap into the realms of becoming a regular starter. Good question. Mo Salah, not the real one, said, how much is Costa's worth? So, if my memory's right, I think we paid between 10 and 12 million pound for Costas, if my memory's right. So, for me, right now, I wouldn't say his value is shot up being at Liverpool, but I'd certainly say 18 million upwards would be a figure I'd be listening to. Maybe a smidgen higher, but depends if he's going outside of the Premier League, or if he's going to Europe, you probably would expect somewhat less of a transfer fee. Sticky toffee pudding and custard. Well, actually, that sticky toffee pudding's the dessert me and Connor had last time we were out for an Anfield Agenda team meeting steak dinner. Sanel, how are you? Welcome in. Cough up the money, John. Cough up the bleeding money. Craig, what's the Rodrygo news? Oren, we'll get there, bro. Relax. We've a long time to get through it. And you know what? I'll go to it now for you, mate, because you've asked so nicely. Let me just scroll down till I get to the news for you. Right, so Graham Bailey and HITC have said that the representatives of Rodrygo have warned him about a possible lack of game time, and are saying that Liverpool chiefs have asked about the 23-year-old situation. Sport, who are a Spanish outlet, said the player is unconvinced by attempted reassurances from the club as to his standing within Carlo Ancelotti's squad, and he's fearful over how much of a role he'll have to play given the arrival of Kylian Mbappe. And can you blame him? You know, he's only just really started to establish himself regularly in the Real Madrid starting 11 over the past 18 months. And if Kylian Mbappe's come in, Vinny Jr. there, I never thought I never understood why he thought he wasn't going to lose game time, to be honest with you. I can understand all the comments from Rodrygo about not wanting to leave Madrid because, you know, I'm sure it's a dream to play there. But in some weird hype world, I can see a possibility for this. I said it in my Discord group earlier on, and I caveated it by saying I am probably delusional. But there is a world where I could see Rodrygo at Liverpool. It's a post-Mohamed Salah world, but it's a world that I could see happening. We did try to sign him previously for about 3 million quid when he was at Santos. He turned us down. He stayed at Santos and eventually moved to Real Madrid. The rest, as they say, is history. But if you could get him for a decent fee and not the 150 million euro that Real Madrid apparently value him at, I think he'd be incredible. And it would be a real statement signing. But we're a long, long way from something like that becoming a possibility. But it is interesting that the narrative is now starting to change about his minutes and his future at Real Madrid. Is this true? Mohamed Salah and Liverpool to discuss contract talks and have set a deadline of August the 1st, said Stevie Boy. Well, I don't know if it's true, but what I can say is this is around the time where usually we would discuss with Mo. So remember the last time he was in Mykonos or somewhere on holidays and Liverpool went over and got the deal announced and he signed on a contract extension. So right now he's finished his international duty with Egypt and he is on his holiday with his family. So yeah, I guess technically this could be a time where those conversations are taking place. And if we do see an extension for Salah, I wouldn't be surprised if it came about over the next couple of weeks. Yes. Now I don't know where we're at or what the landscape is there for an extension, but I mean what you've said there doesn't seem the most unrealistic thing in the world, Stevie Boy. I would still prefer Kudus, said man. Yes, Kudus is a good player, absolutely no doubt about that, and you know what you have to pay for him as well. There's an £85 million release clause in his West Ham contract that I think it was Florian Plettenberg that said is active this summer. So yeah, that's true. Well, we're talking about Real Madrid actually. Another mad one coming from the same outlet, Graham Bailey and HITC, saying that Liverpool are interested in a loan for Arda Güler. Now, I don't like the idea of that. If Liverpool were to sign Arda Güler on loan, I would want there to be a cast iron option to buy at the end of it that can't be wiggled out of if Liverpool want to trigger it. You know, I looked at the deal that the Real Madrid did with Arsenal for Odegaard as a really good example of if you are going to get a player from Madrid, maybe do it that way. I still can't believe they got him, by the way, Odegaard. It still ruffles my feathers. But look, I don't think we need to go after Arda Güler, to be honest, and I certainly don't want him on a loan unless there is a concrete way of buying him at the end of it. But I think it's very, very unlikely, in all honesty. LFC Teggy, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, my friend. Really appreciate your support. Thank you, sir. Did you see Ireland won the darts? I didn't, mate. No, I haven't seen any of the Darts World Cup results yet. It's been a busy day for me behind the scenes, so I haven't had a chance to watch much of the telly. Is Salah leaving? Derek, the honest answer, mate, is I don't know. I do not know. Look, my take on it's pretty clear. I'd sell him, but I've no problem if the club renew him to give him another deal. It wouldn't be my preference, but it would be far more palatable than seeing him leave in a year's time. So, and I'm not just talking about from the valuation point of view of keeping some value in Salah. I would say that if Liverpool gave him an extension, I would hope that that would be Mo basically finishing top level football with Liverpool before he jaunts off for, I don't know, MLS, Saudi, wherever, wherever he wants to go and ease out of his career for a nice little payday. So yeah, I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't think it would be to protect his value because I don't think Rami Abbas is going to play that game now, because if Liverpool have any intention of selling him and they indicate as much, he's going to want reassurances that they're not going to look to move Mo on. So, if I had to put it in a list of my three preferences, sell number one, renew number two, letting him go on a free just it doesn't seem like any kind of a realistic, decent option for the club. Goulart would be a great loan signing. See, I don't like loan signings personally, Ben, because let's say you bring in somebody on loan and they play well, and then you don't buy them. You've got a deficiency in your squad and you've kind of just improved the player for another club. If you do buy him, it's great, but it also takes away from another signing that summer. So it'll feel like you're buying a player that isn't improving a team after a season because you've already got used to him a little bit, if you get me. I don't like loan deals, to be honest, unless they're for younger players going away from Liverpool. Maybe I'm just scarred as well from some of the really ridiculous loans that we have had for like Ozan Kabak, Arthur Melo and whatnot. And Stephen Calker as well, actually. Yeah, now that I think about it, we haven't exactly been brilliant in the loan market. Arda and Rodrygo going nowhere. You know, I mean, George, I get it if you're a Madrid fan and you want to come in and pretend like they're not going anywhere. I get it. But ultimately, I can't see a world that even a club like Real Madrid can keep Vinny, Rodrygo, Bellingham, Valverde, Mbappe. I can't see a world that you keep all them happy with Endrick coming in as well. And Arda. It doesn't feel realistic, mate. And with all the best intentions in the world, they're going to want to play. And they're not going to want to sit on the bench. So I can't see you not cashing in on one or two players over the next season. Darwin's going to be a goal machine this season, said Ryan. I think so. You know my take on it. I'm going 30 plus goals in all comps for Darwin. Right, I want to talk about young Stefan Bajcetic for a little minute before we move into more transfer talk. He has not been included in the Spanish Olympic squad, which was a fear for Liverpool. So, Stefan Bajcetic will be able to get a full pre-season under his belt, and hopefully this is the start of the revolution under Arne Slot, because, you know, the whole could be like a new signing nonsense that none of us like to hear. There is a rare occasion where that can come true, and I do feel like Bajcetic could add a lot to our midfield options if he can stay injury free and shows the promise that he did when he had his breakthrough campaign. Remember, we only paid like £250,000 or about €300,000 to sign the kid. So I hope he does stay injury free, because I think a lot of us are interested to see what can happen with Bajcetic. Okay, how does Bielsa get so much from Darwin yet we can't? A style of management, a style of play, I don't know, but I wouldn't say we can't get anything from Darwin. I think we've seen a lot from Darwin. It's the frustration of the finishing that's getting to a lot of us, but he has been creating, he has worked hard, he does create a lot of opportunities. It's just that little finishing touch. And by the way, he does miss chances for Uruguay as well. If you look at his most recent game, it was the full Darwin experience. Goal, a penalty shout, some misses, a few offsides. We just have to realise that that's the guy we have and hope that he can get that conversion rate up a little bit. Craig, can we get an update on the Trent situation? I have not heard anything. So I don't know anything new on it. You've probably seen the stuff posted from the England camp about, Trent and Bellingham and their friendship and all this stuff, but nothing new that I've heard with regards to contract extensions, or nothing new from Real Madrid's interest or anything like that, other than the Dwight York nonsense that we mentioned earlier on. Dwight York saying that Manchester United should do everything they can to sign Trent. I mean, there literally is nothing they can do, mate. Nothing. Diamonde, not seen anything new, Ben, on Diamonde, and he's another one that there is a release clause for. So if you make the decision that Diamonde is the guy, you can go and pay that release clause. Now, has been a few little additional things on Calafiori. So what we need to keep in mind with Calafiori is a few things. One, there's a lot of interest now, and Arsenal are apparently joining the race to sign him, along with Liverpool, Juventus, and a few other clubs. it's believed that 40 million is the minimum number that Bologna would want for a few reasons. One, Basel, who they bought him from, have a 40% sell-on clause of anything above 6 million, which was the fee Bologna bought him in for. So for Bologna, they're obviously going to want to bring in as much money as they can, because a good chunk of that is going to go to Basel. Now, where we may have a bit of an advantage here is the fact that they have an interest in Sepp van den Berg, and Sepp van den Berg looks very likely to move on this summer. So if Sepp van den Berg likes the idea of maybe going to Bologna, playing Champions League football, maybe we could try and do something there. But it does seem like they're open, or they've consoled themselves with the fact they're going to lose Calafiori in this window. And now it just seems like it's a case of who wants them and who can convince the player. Juventus, we know of their interest, but we also know that Bologna have a little bit of beef with Juventus over Thiago Motta, so they'd probably prefer if he left Italy, but I don't know what the player wants. You know, if the player wants to stay in Italy, then Juventus probably his best bet, but let's wait and see. Mississippi in the house. How are we, mate? Welcome in. I heard that United have put in a bid for Salah. The bid is 225 million. Yeah, well, I don't know, mate. Whoever told you that, just don't trust them with anything in your life, is what I'd say to you. United don't have that money to spend, first and foremost. Over here, Sky Italia said he prefers to join Liverpool. Oh, we love that, David. We love that. So Calafiori, to me, seems like one we can certainly put in the very realistic. And the reason that I keep banging on about him, apart from all the links, is Richard Hughes. We know that Richard Hughes is very, very well versed with the Italian market. I'm sure 90% of you guys in the chat know this, but I'm going to just give you a brief rundown of Richard Hughes' history. He grew up over in Italy, started his footballing career over there before moving back to the UK. His father worked for Penguin Publishing, and his family moved over to Italy when he was a kid. So he's always been up on Italian football, played over there himself, has great contacts over there. So he would know all about Calafiori, and apparently he's been monitoring Calafiori since he was at Bournemouth. And I mean, Richard Hughes was at Bournemouth. So I think this is certainly a realistic possibility. Some good news that I've seen today is an admission finally from many media outlets that Liverpool are going to sign a defender. That's good news, because we've been told for a while, remember, that centre-back wasn't a priority. Well, now apparently the media are starting to realise that we will be looking to bring in a centre-back, or at least a defender anyway. In Italy, Calafiori is known as the baby Nesta. Nice. Right, what's this one? Liverpool are about to sign a player from Chelsea. It's just nobody we've probably ever heard of, and but it's still a get. This piece here from in the Echo said Liverpool are set to welcome Chelsea Youth Academy talent Ryan McAdoo this summer ahead of the coach Arne Slot's first season in charge. It's believed that Chelsea were trying hard to keep his talent, but the England Youth International has made up his mind about a switch to Anfield, also turning down a move to Arsenal in the process. So, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I heard of this dude's name beforehand, but England Youth International, and I'm never averse to us bringing in good youthful players to look to the future. So, and we didn't even have to pay Todd Bowley 38 million quid for this young player. So yes, there you go. Liverpool about to sign a Chelsea prospect. What's this one? Gary Jacobs saying Riccardo Calafiori's performances have caught the eye of Liverpool amongst other Premier League clubs. I'm going to speak about Nico Williams in a couple of minutes, but I just want to go back in and go through your comments around what we have spoken about so far. You're doing great work. Thank you, Derek. I really appreciate that, mate. Look, our family here is growing week on week, and it's amazing. I'm so blessed to have such a great community. It's honestly, I'm buzzing. I'm looking forward to the new season. Looking forward to our live shows. And again, the tickets are moving. I got an update last night. I get an update every Thursday morning and every Monday morning from the venue, and the Liverpool tickets are still selling quite well. So if you want to come and see us, don't hang about for them. We were able to release the extra 75 after we sold out the first show. So if you want to come along to the Liverpool show, I will get your tickets as soon as you can. And also the Cardiff show is available. Link top of the chat, or scan the QR code on the screen or in the description. The good news about these shows are they're all ages events, so everyone can come along. It's the first all ages show we've done. The other ones are all over 18. So yeah, really hope that you guys can come along. And we've got a comedian opening up for us as well in Liverpool, and it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. Honestly, I'm so excited to do a show in Liverpool, for it to be my last show as well. Buzzing for it. And Carl Porter's going to give you guys a good laugh as well. Calafiori, Kimmich, Ederson, please and thank you, said Evelyn. So I would say that the second and third options on your list would be a one or the other. And for me, it's Ederson. You know, I'm a huge fan of Ederson, but I'm not hating your list, mate. I'm not hating it. Craig, if you could sign both a hypothetical free transfer, who would you rather, Elise or Eze? Elise. No doubt in my mind. Except the injuries, but Elise. Because for me, Eze is a number 10 or maybe a slightly left side forward. I think the only reason we'll need to look at the left side is if we lose Lucho. And if we lose Lucho, then there are players that I would prefer, like Nico Williams, who I'm going to come on to talk about in a moment. And on the right-hand side, that's where I'm concerned. The right-hand side is where, unless we get a breakthrough in negotiations with Mo, we need to find somebody for the future there. Whether you do that in this window or the next window, I don't know. But on Nico Williams, Mundo Deportivo said Liverpool want Nico Williams and have made inquiries on the player, while Barcelona are looking to get Luis Diaz. Arne Slot is open to letting the Colombian leave if they find a good replacement, and that's where Nico Williams would come in, according to this piece. Now, I'm a huge fan of Nico Williams. I know he's on big money. I know there's been some reports that Liverpool aren't interested. I've never believed those reports. But I'm also of the mindset that if Barcelona sell Rafinha to Al Hilal or anybody else for a big sum of money, we all know they're going to come knocking for Diaz. And when they come knocking for Diaz, it could become a problem. So I think the club are wise to look to a potential if Diaz does indeed have an option to depart to Barca and wants to take it up. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Rachel Todd, appreciate that. Would you sign Polina from Fulham or Alvarez from West Ham? No and no, because we have an experienced defensive midfielder. You know, what is Polina, 28, 29? Incredible player, and doesn't look like he's flagging or like Father Time's catching up with him. But I think we need to look to the younger side of that market. If we hadn't signed Endo, potentially, but Endo's come in, we have an experienced head there, so I think we need to look for somebody in the 20 to 24 age bracket. P76, how are you, my friend? Said, going to Copa America, Uruguay versus Bolivia tonight with my son. Can't wait to see Darwin and hopefully Suarez. Nice, that's class. It should be a good game. Yeah, I'm delighted for you. Well in. One of our other community members as well was at the game last night, the Jamaica game in Las Vegas. So yeah, I hope you both have a great time, mate. And well in for you bringing your son along as well. So I hope you both have a good experience at the game and see plenty of Darwin magic. Tom Hardyman, how are you, sir? Said, great show. Hope you're well. I'm good, Tom. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Starting to feel a little bit more optimistic about life. Who do you think will sign first? Is a question from Ethan. Do you know what, Ethan? I can't sit here, mate, and say with any degree of any certainty that I can tell you one player I know we're going to sign. That's how cagey this window has been. But I kind of expect nothing less with Michael Edwards back at the helm of the club, or at least overseeing the side of things with Richard Hughes. So I've no idea. Really have no idea what to expect. You know, it could be Calafiori. It could be somebody we've never heard of, or at least, somebody we haven't spoken about. But I do think we will make signings. It's just a matter of, are we going to be satisfied with those signings, and will it be enough? Because what I don't want to happen, and I'm not accusing the owners of this yet, but what I don't want to happen is that Arne Slot comes in and becomes a sacrificial lamb. Because we know it's a tricky period after losing Jurgen, and usually when a manager comes in after a club legend departs, it's a difficult process, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But I want it to work out for Arne Slot because I like him. I like his style of football, from what I've been able to research. Comes across very well, and I want us to be successful. What I don't want to happen is us to get into a situation where top 4 is just the aim. Nothing wrong with getting Champions League football, of course, it's great. But we have to be ambitious. We have to want to win. And I think we need a couple of astute pieces of business. So I look at it this way. Slot will come in, he'll assess the squad, and then he'll look at what we need. I think we need to front load, which means giving him a couple of big signings now, and then giving him plenty of time to allow that development for the likes of Cade Gordon, for the likes of Bobby Clark, Conor Bradley to continue his development, and Trey Neone, many of the other great youngsters that are at the club. What I always fear is that these youngsters get thrown in early, and if it doesn't work out, they're scapegoated as the reason, and that's unfair to them and their careers. So I'd like to see the club give Arne Slot a couple of right here, right now players, and then let him develop over the next 2-3 years those great young players that are at the club. That would be fun, because I'm absolutely sound with the idea of Arne Slot coming in to improve the players as well. There's nothing wrong with that. You should want that from your coach. But I do feel like it has to be alongside some good, clever pieces of business. Thank you for keeping me sane. It's okay, Daryl, because whatever I'm doing to keep you sane, mate, I'm doing the opposite to the wife. You know, I'm trying to wind her up non-stop, but that's part of the battle of being married. Slot will hopefully be our Paisley after Shankly, said Sean McMahon. That would be amazing. I'm really rooting for Arne Slot, I have to say. I really do like the guy. Loved Jurgen, but I feel like this is the guy. I'm very happy with him being Liverpool coach. We're reaching the final in the Champions League next season. Mark my words, Craig. Where is the final again next season? I know somebody told me this already, but my dumb ass has forgotten. Where is the Champions League final next season? Is it somewhere realistic for us to get to, or is it somewhere far-fetched again? HAFZM said we're not. I mean, don't be that negative, yeah. Go into the season full of dreams. It's in the Allianz in Germany, is it? Oh, hello. Oh, okay, then yeah, we're getting to the final. We've all decided, committee meeting, we're getting to the final. Class. That's a good spot for the final, to be fair. Right, let's have a look at the poll. We've nearly had 1,000 votes, and that's usually the point at which we end the poll, so keep voting if you haven't. So far we said, would you take Rayan A at Liverpool? And it's a landslide at the minute. 77% of you guys watching have said yes, we would take AIT-NOURI at Liverpool, and 23% say no. I'd be interested, if you are one of the people that voted no, is it because you don't rate AIT-NOURI, or you think we have priorities elsewhere that you would rather see Liverpool look to get done first? Yeah, I'm always trying to gauge people's reactions to these things on a wider scale, so we've only got 18 votes left before we cancel it out, so if you haven't voted, still time to have your say. How many signings do I want? Three. For me, we need centre-back, defensive midfielder, and a forward, but I don't know which area of the forward line just yet, because I don't know what's happening with a few of the forwards. You know, is Diaz going to leave? Is Salah getting an extension? Is he going to stay? I think these would dictate what my forward choice would be. Right, there we go. We've got 1,000 votes, so we'll end the poll. 77% of you guys think that AIT-NOURI would be a good signing. Harry, how are you, my friend? Can't wait to see Bajcetic with Endo, Engine and Thiago Flair next season. He is capable of amazing things, Stefan Bajcetic. I'm intrigued to see where Arne Slot utilises him, because a double pivot feels like a lot of our players actually would be suited to the double pivot that Slot likes to utilise, or is one of his two options that he likes to utilise. I think that would be really clever for us, because it would give us so many options and so many combinations that we could play in that double pivot. And Bajcetic, Thiago, McAllister, Trent, Gravenberch, Jones potentially, all of them could operate in the double pivot system. I'm thinking the likes of Szoboszlai and Elliott, a little bit more forward thinking, would have them in the front four somewhere. We probably need a goalkeeper. Yeah, I think you're right, John. Certainly it looks like Adrian is off to Real Betis. We await to see what happens with Creevy and Kelleher. But if Kelleher departs and Adrian departs, that's a fairly significant chunk of our keeper stockpile that we'd need to address. What do you do with Yaros? He's got 1 year to go on his own deal. Pitaluga didn't have a great spell with St. Pat's, so that's not working out too great, so he'll need another loan. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, because what type of second choice keeper do you bring in if you're Liverpool? Do you go for the kind of Alex McCarthy type experienced head, or do you go for another up and coming keeper who may never get the breakthrough? It's a tough one when you've got the greatest goalkeeper in the world ahead of you in the pecking order. What he meant from Thiago, mate, was the style of Thiago. So he meant Bajcetic having the Thiago flair with the Endo engine. He didn't mean the two players. I was confused myself for a second. What would be my dream Liverpool squad? Right, so to start next season, if I could pick a realistic dream 11, I did it yesterday, I'll go through it again. In goal, Alisson. At right back, Bradley. Central defenders, Virgil van Dijk and whoever the signing is. So let's say it's Calafiori, Diamande, Inacio, Mark Gay, doesn't matter. Whoever the centre-back signing is, them. Left back, stay with Robertson, but I love the idea of AIT-NOURI for competition. Moving into midfield, I would go with Ederson, because in my mind we've signed Ederson. Ederson and McAllister in the central midfield positions as the pivot. Trent is where I struggle, because if we bring in a defensive midfielder, I think Trent has to start competing again at right back with Bradley, because I can't see him nailing down one of the two double pivot spots for every game, but I can absolutely see him being there alongside somebody like an Ederson. So that would give us options. And up top, if Salah stays, he's on the right. In the number 10 position, I would stick with either Elliott, McAllister if he's moved further forward. On the left, Gakpo over Diaz for me now, and then through the centre, Darwin. Always wanted Nouri to rotate with Robbo and eventually be the number one, said Connoisseur 101. It was one of those links that when it was initially made to Liverpool a year ago, I thought, yeah, I can see this happening. Obviously, we've done business with Wolves before, and he has stood out to me as a fullback that I think is more than capable of making the step up to play for Liverpool. Craig, Trent should be our floating 10. It's an interesting conversation, because I'm still unsure whether I'd want Trent to be a quarterback, using that long range of passing, or whether I'd want him to be making third man runs and breaking late to the penalty area and trying to impact the game from closer to the opposition goal. The only thing I'm fully convinced of is that I don't want him to have to be playing on the half turn or under pressure. He isn't the press resistant player in my mind, so that's why I'm confused about Trent. But I can see a world where he can play in a few different areas if, and it's a big if at the minute, he's still a Liverpool player. Ugarte is nearly gone to United. Is he? Can't say I've seen too much about that. I know he's definitely available. Paris Saint-Germain have put him up for sale. He hasn't really been able to get in under Enrique, but I don't know. Is he going to United? Okay, a couple of other stories. Liverpool have rejected the first offer for Tyler Morton from Leipzig, I believe. but they would think there's another offer going to come. But it looks like negotiations are properly starting now over an offer to take Tyler Morton over to Germany. Liverpool value him at about £20 million, and there seemingly is quite a bit of interest. This coming from Transfer Sector. Tottenham lead the race to sign Eze and plan to accelerate negotiations after the Euros. We spoke about this yesterday and we went through the bookies odds for the next club for Eze, and Liverpool were way down. They were 12-1, same odds as United, but the favourites were Spurs at even money, so doesn't surprise me at all. So Ben Jacobs has said Paris Saint-Germain sources say that United's offer for Ugarte was about £25 million, with PSG wanting £50 million. So I would say that that's a long way from being done if you're talking about half the price that the club are asking. It seems like Manchester United are doing that everywhere this summer. You know, they want the kid Branthwaite and they're offering half the money for him. They're not going to sell Ugarte for £25 million. You know, PSG aren't going to have to worry about money, put it that way. You know, we know about PSG. They're not a club that, you know, is struggling now when they freed up all that Kylian Mbappe wage. So, yeah, I don't think United are getting near him at £25 million. Roger said, lads, I'm Egyptian, so I don't know much about English politics, but is it true the Scouts don't support the English national team? I wouldn't say it's a blanket they don't support, but there is a section, yes, a good vocal section, for historical reasons that go back, you know, a long way from the mining strikes, Maggie Thatcher, the establishment trying to screw over the city of Liverpool. So they are very anti-establishment, and that's kind of something that I feel particularly connected to Liverpool about. It's a very socialist city with Labour roots, and one that I as an Irish person certainly feel drawn to. So I'm sure there's a Scouser in the chat that can give you a far better background, but yes, it's very much... I'll give you an example. So last night I was watching my guilty pleasure with my wife, which is Below Deck, which is a sailing show on super yachts. And they were going through all the staff members, and they're like, where are you from? I'm American. Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. So they got to the chef, who was from Liverpool, and he said, where are you from? And his reply was, I'm Scouse. And I think that sums it all up. You know, not I'm English, I'm Scouse. So, yeah, somebody will explain it better than me, though. I'm expecting moves to be made after the conclusion of the Euros. Well, yes, but I wouldn't say we have to wait till the end of the Euros, because, you know, as the knockout stages progress now, you know, players are going to go on holidays. And when they're on holidays, I think that's where you can start these negotiations. So I wouldn't say we have to wait till the end of the Euros, but, you know, a good chunk of the players we're looking at probably are involved in the Copa America or the Euros at the minute. And some of them then may be going on to the Olympics as well. That's good news for us, as I mentioned earlier on, because Bajcetic is not going to be with the the Spanish national team at the Olympics. Ederson and Nico Williams plus a centre-back. Harry, sign me up, bro. Sign me up for that. That's the window. Done, sealed, delivered. Some comments from Usama Idrissi on Slot. Said, for me, he's the best manager I've worked under. He can develop players and make teams play fun football. Slot was the best. Good. Yeah, there you go. And he's played under the likes of Lopetegui, Ten Hag, but still said Arne Slot's the best. I mean, somewhere now Ten Hag's screaming, because he doesn't like when somebody says that nice about Arne Slot and doesn't mention Ten Lasso, so... Are we in for Colwell from Chelsea, as they have to sell? I don't think they do have to sell. Now, with regards, Christoph, to our interest, yes. We've always been interested in Colwell. Last season, you know, we were asked to be kept abreast of the situation. He signed a new deal at Chelsea. He was given assurances over his time there. And yes, Chelsea have been making moves in the market, young players and a few other bits and pieces. But if they do have to sell, and if PSR creeps up on them between now and the 30th, when the financial year ends, the 30th of June, I'd love it. But I just don't see Chelsea letting go of Colwill unless he kicks up a fuss. What's my go-to meal and dessert? Pizza or steak. And dessert, oh mate, whatever. Anything apple and I'm good. Where do I get my transfer news? Oh God. From a whole host of places. From just reading up the media reports, watching Sky back pages, Googling transfer news, occasionally speaking to journalists that you get to know over the years. Some people sometimes give you a little bit of information, but I spend from when I get up until probably 6 o'clock. So I spend a good 4 hours just looking through the internet, seeing all the latest stories, trying to correlate them to see if there's any similar patterns of outlets that are talking about certain players, or from everywhere, mate. Same as everybody else. I just try my best to find as many stories for us to discuss, and that's what these shows are about. We're not going to sit here and be the ones to tell you who we're signing. Occasionally I get that information, very occasionally. Carvalho, we were the first to break that story, never got any credit for it, but we were the first, and a few others over the years. But mostly, mate, I am not that guy who I'm not the guy who's going to be breaking news stories for you with regards to Liverpool signings, because I'm not that well connected. 6 a.m, that's very early. No. I get up at 2 p.m. and I work reading up till 6. And then I, start my work there. And I take a break at about 5 to record a video. But other than that, mate, no, I'm talking p.m. Craig doesn't do 6 a.m. I'm going to go to bed around that time. Arsenal are transfer stalkers. I was only thinking that, Richard. Arsenal have been linked recently to so many players that we've been linked to. And again, Calafiori is another one. Nico Williams, Arsenal are being linked to. So yeah, I'm right with you on that one. It feels like they're the new Spurs. Because it used to be Spurs that were hovering over our shoulder for most of these transfers. And now it is Arsenal. And look, it concerns me because they finished the season ahead of us for the second season in a row. And we are playing catch up with Arsenal and Manchester City. So if Arsenal are going out there and they manage to get one or two of the players that we've been looking at, it just widens that gap or gives more work for Arne Slot to have to do. So yeah, I hope we can get the ones we want. That's basically where I'm going with it. I hope that the gaffer gets the players that he wants and gets them quickly. Right, let me just fly back through my notes here. Right, Joshua Kimmich, Bild over in Germany are saying that Kimmich would cost about 25 to 33 million for whatever team is interested in him. Bayern want to sell him before he runs his contract down and leaves for free. He doesn't want to sign a new deal at the minute there. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Real Madrid and Barcelona are the 5 clubs that he'd be willing to join. That doesn't mean that we're at the negotiating table. I feel if Klopp had still been here, I would have said Kimmich maybe to replace Thiago in the squad. But of the clubs mentioned, I feel City would probably be the most likely. If they moved on Calvin Phillips, I could see them bringing in Kimmich there to give them that experience again in midfield, which they'll need, to be fair, going down to League 2. What do I think about Real Madrid? It's a pretty intimidating team that they're putting together, isn't it? To say otherwise would just be delusional. And they're going to add in either Alphonso Davies or another quality fullback there. They're being linked with Trent, which scares me. Endrick coming in, Mbappe, Bellingham. I mean, you've got to be impressed and scared at the same time. LFC Love, thank you for gifting a membership. Really kind of you, mate. Appreciate that. How's life treating you, Craig? Thanks for keeping us all up to date. It's good, Glenn. It's good. It's the worst month for a content creator in football, or at least for us. June is always the month that scares me because it gets really quiet. I start thinking that the channel's dying, and I get freaked out like clockwork every single June. And my wife and Connor keep saying to me, relax, look back at other Junes. This is the way June is. But other than that, man, I'm good. City need a Rodri backup, another season older, him and KDB. KDB is going to be the big one. You know, they've been looking at Paqueta for a long time. They held off on Paqueta because, of course, the whole betting stuff, which still hasn't been resolved to the best of my understanding. But yeah, like I don't think the media in particular are paying enough attention to how big a loss De Bruyne is going to be in that City team, because this year you've seen at times without De Bruyne in there, they weren't the same. And as you said, Rodri getting another season older, although he's still only 27, I think. It's a huge loss for them to try and fill in with, and I don't see who they're going to get that's going to do what De Bruyne did. A Santino, thank you, mate. You're always very kind. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships there as well. Really appreciate you. So, I'm going to do a little trial. I'm going to buy a couple of Adidas t-shirts this week, and I'm going to get the Anfield Agenda logo embroidered or put onto them to see what they look like. Because you're always asking me about merch and stuff, and I want to do it right. So if I can find some good embroidery to go with the Adidas t-shirts, the black Adidas t-shirts I'm looking at, I'll let you guys know. I'll probably be wearing it for the live show in Liverpool, but I'm going to get a couple made up over the next week or two just to see how they look. All this talk about buying a young DM, and we've got one in Morton, it's like sending money away for the sake of it. See, I hear you, and anybody who says to me that Morton should be given a chance, I find it hard to push back, because he's gone away and had 2 very good loans. Blackburn, Hull, always stood out as a good player. But I've always had that doubt in my mind if he's ready to make or can make enough of a difference in Liverpool's midfield to deny him a move elsewhere. So I've got to be honest though, I do think we can do better. That doesn't mean I don't rate Tyler Morton, and you can see the interest in him, that clearly footballing world thinks he's a decent player, but I don't think he would be our solution for what we need personally, but I understand where you're coming from as well. What's the story with the Champions League? Are we pot 1 or pot 2? Pot 1, Stephen. Yeah, pot 1. And remember, 8 Champions League group stage games this season. 4 home, 4 away against 8 different teams. Not like in years gone by where you played 6 games, 3 home, 3 away against the same teams. This year it's different with the new format. You can't bring a Morton to a Rodri fight. He's good, but he's not Liverpool good. That's a really good summary. Yeah, fair. You can't bring a Morton to a Rodri and a Rice fight. Yes, I think that's a good way of summarising it with still showing respect to Tyler Morton. Yeah, well in. Are we ever going to buy? We have a team of kids. Well, look, I'm somebody, Alex, as you know, that's not shy about calling for signings, but I wouldn't necessarily go as far as say we have a team of kids. We've got a good age profile now. You know, look at the business we did last summer. Take Endo out of that conversation. You brought in Szoboszlai, who's 23 at the time. We brought in Gravenberch, who's still young. Alexis McAllister, fresh off the back winning the World Cup as well. Not even coming into his prime yet. So I don't think we've a team of kids. You know, Bradley coming through. I think we've a good team with some good balance as well. You've got the experience of Robertson, Van Dijk, Salah there. Diaz right in his prime at 27. Gakpo coming into his prime as well. Darwin, 24, is he around that age? So I don't think it's kids. I think it's, you know, we just need the right players at the minute. That will improve the first team and not squad players. What's the word on Calvin Ramsey? Loan, wasn't it Wigan? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it was Wigan. He's gone on loan for the season. Does anyone know how hard it is to get season tickets? Thinking of spending a year in Liverpool once I finish med school. I'll put it to you this way, Roger. I've offered someone 10 grand for the season ticket on top of the price of the season ticket, and that wasn't of interest to them. So the hope of you getting a season ticket, it's slim to none. The only hope, I would say, is the Annie Road end, the hospitality season tickets. We looked into them, and the price of them are about £5,500 per season for the 19 home games. That doesn't get you Champions League games. That was just 19 home games. £5,500 sterling, I think, plus VAT. So, yeah, expensive. Now, obviously, normal season tickets aren't that expensive, but you're not going to get access to normal season tickets. What position is the guy we signed from Chelsea? He's a defender, Gary, to the best of my memory. Let me just check in for you again. I'm almost certain he was a defender. Where is it? Sorry, mate. Just bear with me. I'm scrolling back through my notes. Where's it gone? Oh yeah, here we go. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't say. I'm trying to read through the piece. I think he's a defender, but it doesn't say it in this piece I'm looking at here anyway. But my memory wants to say he's a defender. Frankie, thank you for your membership, mate, for 10 months. Anfield Agenda Ultras, really do appreciate you. What's happening with Calafiori? Right, so the latest, Mart, on Calafiori is this. He is available. Bologna have admitted as much. It's going to take about 40 million quid by the looks of it. And the reason why they're adamant that they want a higher fee is they bought him from Basel for 6 million. And they have a 40% sell-on clause on top of that 6 million. So anything that Bologna sell him for above 6 million, Basel are entitled to 40% of it, which is why they're looking for such a high fee. On top of the fact he's obviously having a good Euros with Italy, and there's interest. So for me, I think we have a possibility to have an ace up our sleeve because of Sepp van den Berg, who they've already declared an interest in. So I'm hoping if Richard Hughes wants to sign Calafiori, because I can't speak to that for any fact, but if he does, we have an opportunity there, because I'm sure Sepp van den Berg wouldn't mind playing Champions League football. I know there were clubs in Germany like Mainz who he was on loan at, and a few others looking to bring him in, but you know, if he was open to the idea of a move to Bologna, surely you could use him as a make weight, or to facilitate the signing. Right, so this piece here said that he's a striker, the player. I know others are saying defender. This piece I'm reading here said Liverpool have beaten Arsenal to the signing of young Chelsea striker Rayan A. So this article said he's a striker. According to Transfermarkt, he's a midfielder. According to the chat, he's a defender. So let's just be honest and say we don't know at this particular moment. This guy chatting shy. Mate, firstly, you're not clever enough to come in and troll me. I have eat little assholes like you day in, day out, and slap them back into reality. So, firstly, this guy has a name, you ignorant little shithead. And secondly, shut up. I didn't go to your house and drag you to your computer, you absolute little dickhead. I'm here bestowing my wisdom upon your dumb, ignorant little ass. So whether you want to watch it or not, that's up to you. But here's an idea for you. Go start a YouTube channel, and then you can bestow your wisdom upon the world, and they won't have to listen to me. But until then, I'll just keep being me, mate, and you can just keep being another little dickhead who wishes he was sitting here. The guy from Wolves is a defender. We know who AIT-NOURI is, mate. We're all versed in AIT-NOURI. It was this kid from Chelsea, that McAdoo, that we weren't sure about. We've seen him listed in 3 different positions. So, but AIT-NOURI, yes, he's a fullback, as you said. Why do I enjoy Craig swearing so much? It's because I'm Irish. That's why. We get away with it more. Ourselves and the Aussies get away with swearing a lot more, I think. Right, so Connor's been trying to research more on the McAdoo youngster, and apparently going through Twitter Academy accounts, Connor said he seems to be some sort of attacking midfielder / striker. So we can safely say that. He's an attack-minded youngster. Let's go with that one. Young McAdoo, who Liverpool look like they're going to pinch from Chelsea. Nouri would be a shout still. Oh, we had a poll earlier on, mate. We started off tonight's stream. I'll go back over it in case you missed it. There have been reports that Liverpool are in pole position to sign Rayan A from Wolves. That's, and we did a poll on it, and 77% of the 1,000 people that voted said they'd love to sign out Nouri. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility. The reports are coming out of Algeria at the moment, but I think we can talk about them as semi-realistic because we've been linked with Nouri for a while. And if in this window Costas does move on, which again has been spoken about by a lot of the media, I think this would be an astute piece of business. If you could move on Costas, bring in Nouri, I think most of us would think that that's an upgrade in the area. Do we get Frimpong? The only way I could see us looking at Frimpong, and it's just a personal opinion, is if Trent left. Because if Trent stays, we've got Bradley and we've got Trent. I don't think we need Frimpong. But if Trent were to leave, you could look at Frimpong maybe, but I would say there's going to be a battle because he's €40 million buyout clause in his Leverkusen contract. It's going to be, in my opinion, a club will come in and pay him a shitload of wages, and I don't see that being us. Brighton agreed Dewsbury Hall deal. However, Chelsea are still interested in a move for Dewsbury Hall, according to Fabrizio. That's weird, because when we were linked with Keenan Dewsbury Hall last year, I remember everybody, myself included, going, no, don't want him. And now Chelsea, Brighton going head to head from it's mad. 25, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Can you reassure me we'll get more than one signing? I mean, I can, but I can't tell you it's going to be more than one signing that we will class as a big signing, because, we're going to sign fringe players and a centre-back probably, but I don't know. Look, I think most of us believe 3 signings are what's needed. We don't need big deals, we need the right deals. Don't forget our kids are ready to be played. So I spoke about the kids earlier on, Colin, and for me, what I would love to see happen with the Arne Slot situation is that we front load for him and we give him 2 or 3 players right now that he wants to go into the first team. And then allow him over this season and the next couple to gradually bring through the younger players. Because I'm with you, Colin. I've no doubt that we have great youth talent at the club, and that the club have done very well signing the likes of T-Nouri and others, Bobby Clark, Ben Doak. I mean, I could go on and on. So I'm not against the idea of Arne Slot bringing them through, but I do think it needs to be staggered and done with a bit less pressure on them being the solution. Because I don't want to see them come in and be scapegoated if it's not going well. What about Johan Bakayoko? Again, another one that we can put into the category of sincere interest. Whether that interest translates into an offer or not, I don't know. But many journalists have said that Liverpool hold an interest in Johan Bakayoko. Sasha Tavolieri, I think, has doubled down on Liverpool's interest there. So again, interest is one thing, but do we see bids going in? I think that's the part we need to wait for. Frimpong right wing, do you think he would do a job there? No. Not for me. Not when you've got other young forwards that could be brought in. He could do a job there, but it wouldn't be the solution for me. I don't think he's... If you were losing Salah and you're putting Frimpong out there, I don't see enough end product. In the goal scoring side of things, I mean. Oh, okay, so this kid McAdoo joined Trent's brother's agency recently as well, which makes sense as to that move coming through. So that's actually an interesting one. There's a couple of players have signed and moved agents recently, and Trent's brother, his agency's signed a couple of young lads, and there's a few more moving to the Roof agency, which is the one that Virgil van Dijk is signed to. What about losing Salah and getting Kudus? Look, I'm not against Kudus at all. I think Kudus is a good player. Yeah, no problems with that. And I think most people in the chat rate Kudus as well. Is Salah going? Don't know, Marty. Don't know, mate. All I can do is give you my opinion on the situation, which I've done many times. If you want me to preference it, sell him is the right option in my mind. Extend him if the club think he's got a couple more years left. But what I think we can't allow to happen is Salah to leave for free. Sorry, I'm just running through more of my stories here. So, Connor, can we get a poll up and ask which centre-back people think we're going to sign? So, chat, give me 4 realistic centre-back options for us that you think Liverpool could sign. So, Calafiori, let's talk about him. He's one. Mark Gay, I would say, is another credible source for Liverpool to look at. After that, we need 2 more for the poll, but give me some more options. Other than Calafiori and Mark Gay, and don't say Inacio, because I don't think that's going to happen. I think if we wanted him, we'd have done that last year. Pacho, Hincapié, again, I don't see it. I don't see Hincapié. And I've not really seen the links there either. Pacho's an interesting one. Pacho, I think we could throw in the poll. We need 1 more. Anton's gone to Dortmund, mate. Dortmund, they've already agreed that deal. Leverkusen were trying to sign him as well, but Nuri Sahin has convinced them that Dortmund is the right place for him, so he's going there. I think 25 million, if my memory's right. The problem, RKSP, with Silva is the price. If you're going to sign him from Benfica, you're looking upwards of 100 million. Jonathan Tah is either going to go to Bayern Munich or stay at Bayer Leverkusen. So that'll be what happens with Tah, one of those two. So I don't think he's realistic. Diamonde, I've not seen anything new on. Branthwaite, it really annoys me that we can't be realistically in that race for Branthwaite, because I think most of us would take him in a heartbeat. This whole Liverpool Everton thing is frustrating when these type of players come up, because I'd really like Branthwaite. Right, so Connor, let's go. Calafiori, Gay, Pacho, and put Hincapié in. Hincapié. Because Yoro, lads, let's be honest, we know what's happening with Lenny Yoro. He's going to Real Madrid. De Ligt, Liverpool will not pay his wages. He's on way too much money, and there's no way Liverpool pay that much money. So, yeah, you can write off De Ligt. And his injury track record isn't good enough for my liking either. So, the poll is up. And I'm not saying these are the only 4 options, but I think they're probably the 4 most spoken about. So, Riccardo Calafiori, Mark Gay, William Pacho, or Piero Hincapié. Alejandro said the Everton lad is just the spot we need as well, and we move over VVD to the right guard, Trent side. I'd love him. Genuinely, I would put him as my number 1 priority if I thought there was any hope we could sign him. It's annoying, isn't it? Because we know he could go out to Man United and he will be a good player, and United will most likely turn him into Harry Maguire 2.0, because, you know, that's what United do. They ruin promising careers these days. Yeah, I'd love Branthwaite. He wouldn't even have to move house either. There you go, Connor. Absolutely spot on, mate. Actual predictions for business this summer. So I'm still sticking by Ederson. My prediction would be Ederson for the defensive midfield spot. Attacker. I feel like the attacker needs to wait until we know what happens with Diaz or Salah. At the moment, I would say Chiesa would be an astute signing. If we were to keep everybody and we weren't losing an attacker, I think Chiesa for the right price, because he's gone into the last year of his Juve deal and he's a utility player, can play in a few positions. That would be an astute signing. Kudus, again, would be a very good signing, but for us to bring in that high profile of player like a Nico Williams or anything, I think you'd almost have to be losing a player to justify that expense. Gay is a good shout, being English. And also, Jamie, I think that the price that Crystal Palace have put on him at 65 million isn't unrealistic. Now, I'm not saying he's definitely worth 65 million pound, but I think if you take into account homegrown, England international, Premier League tested and proven, you pay a premium for that, and I think 65 million pound, it's worth the conversation. Yeah. I would be very, very, very happy with Mark A, because he would give us that homegrown quota as well, wouldn't take up an overseas spot, and as we said, all the other points that we've spoken about. Apparently, Endo himself said he'd be more than happy with us signing another 6. He did. He said with his age, he probably thinks it's the right call, and he'd welcome the challenge. I love Endo for that. I love that attitude. Yeah. That's why I think Endo was an incredibly astute piece of business, but I'm glad that he's self-aware as well to say we could probably do with somebody else. Pacho looks like a really good option, said Harry James. I've got to be honest about Pacho. I haven't watched much of him. Can't say I've watched Frankfurt play that much. Cody on fire on the left, or Cody on the left. Yes, I'm right with you. For me, if the season started tomorrow and everybody was still here, I'd be playing Cody Gakpo on the left over Lucho. I've been really impressed with him at the end of the season for us, and with how bright and how comfortable he looks on the left for the Netherlands as well. Obviously cut inside, got himself a goal in the last game. Yeah, I think Cody Gakpo tomorrow would start on the left for me ahead of Diaz if we were kicking off the season. What do you think about Geertruida? Very good signing, but looks like he's PSG bound, based off the reports over the last couple of days. Do you think Liverpool will sign an attacker? Yes, I do. Because that, of all the positions, that's the one that most of the media seem to have agreed on. We've got some of the media saying centre-back isn't a priority. Some saying the number 6 position is one that Liverpool haven't found the solution in yet. But pretty much all of them have been of the mindset that an attacker is on the books for Liverpool this summer. Craig, another great show. Enjoying the show tonight. Would you consider Bastoni at centre-back? Yes, but Calafiori looks like the one that's been spoken about as the most likely, in a price bracket that I think we'd be comfortable with, and an age profile we're certainly comfortable with. And if you look at what we're always told are 3 of the biggest factors for a signing under FSG are the right value in the signing, the ability to improve under coaching, and have experience at international stage, at least at a high level in club competitions, and he has that. So it does tick every box. Exactly the right age profile, and a market that Richard Hughes knows very well. So I would think that there's a good chance that interest is sincere, but it doesn't mean we're going to sign him. Right, so we've had about 300 votes so far in our centre-back poll, and we asked, which centre-back do you think we will sign? Calafiori winning with 58% so far. Next up is Mark Gay, Crystal Palace with 22%, William Pacho 10%, and Piero Hincapié with 10% as well. We'll leave that poll running until we get 1,000 votes. Is the Rodrygo links legit? So the thing about Rodrygo is, initially, my instinct would be to say, no, they aren't legit. But there's a couple of things to take into consideration. One, we have history of trying to sign Rodrygo. We tried to sign him for 3 million quid when he was at Santos. Now, he turned us down, stayed at Santos, and eventually moved to Real Madrid. then we have to take into account the situation at Real Madrid. And the piece today said that his representatives are concerned that he won't get enough game time to continue his progression at Real Madrid. Now, the player himself, we've seen lots of quotes from him to say he loves Real Madrid, he wants to stay at Real Madrid, and he's no intention of leaving Real Madrid. But if his agent is starting to get in his ear and brief about concern about minutes, I don't see how they're going to satisfy those minutes, because you don't bring in Endrick, Mbappe, Bellingham, then have Vinicius Jr., Valverde, Rodrygo, obviously. I don't see how you keep all them happy. And he's had a good season with Real Madrid. So, is it realistic? I would say 5 out of 10. Because Real Madrid would have to firstly lower their valuation. And the briefings on the valuation to the media seem to have been about €150 million, which is somewhere about £125 million. And I can't see us paying that. €100 million, if you sold Salah, maybe. But I still think it's unlikely, because he's made that transition. You know, if we had got him at Santos, we'd have been sitting here going, oh my God, what a player we've got for £3 million. But now that he's gone to Real, won everything there, announced himself to the world stage, I don't know, it doesn't strike me as the type of FSG signing. Although, weirdly, I started this stream by saying I'm probably deluded, but the back of my mind I have this daydream of us actually going for him. What are his wages? Don't know. Off the top of my head, mate. Don't know. So, the thing about Diaz as well is he's not on huge money at Liverpool. So, if Barcelona do come in for him, you know, they would be able to talk realistically to him about wages as well. So, Liverpool are really calm about the situation because we've got 3 years left on his contract. He's not a huge earner at the club, so we don't need to worry about that. But I do think he departs this summer. I really do. I know some media are burying their heads in the sand, but I think as soon as Barca come and knock it, that's when the fun starts. And I can see a way he leaves. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say happy birthday to my wife the other day. Actually, I wasn't streaming that day. I did 2 videos. I didn't do a live stream. But it was my wife's birthday the other day. So I wouldn't be able to do this, what I do, without the support of my wife. Both on an emotional level and, of course, me taking over the living room to do all these shows. So much love to my beautiful wife, who is, you know, my best mate. And yeah, so happy birthday, my darling wife, who for this few months is older than me, and I love it because we're the same age, but she's 3 months older than me. So for these 3 months every year, I give her absolute abuse about being old. Glorious 3 months for me. SG said, I have a weird feeling about next season. I feel like we'll either have a very good season or a very bad season. Hopefully it's the very good season. And by the way, if you ever want to see a Sabrina reveal, you can see her at the live shows because she will be there. She always helps me out afterwards when we're doing the meet and greets and stuff. So if you're coming along to Cardiff or you're coming along to Liverpool, you'll get to see Sabrina as well there. She does really exist. She is a real person. What if we do a ball-playing centre-back as a left-back, similar to Gvardiol, a Robbo replacement, due to lack of quality left-backs around? Yeah, could be a possibility. But AIT-NOURI, that link today seems like a realistic one to me. And if we sold Costas for, I don't know, let's say 20 million, and we brought in AIT-NOURI, I think that would be a great upgrade and a great push for Andy Robertson as well, because I never felt that Costas is good enough to actually push Robbo, but I do think AIT-NOURI could push Robbo. So, quick Google search, Connor says Rodrygo's earning somewhere between 130 and 200 grand a week, and that would be on his new deal as well, because I think if my memory's right, Rodrygo signed a new deal at Real Madrid last season. Craig, hypothetical question. Would I take Udogie as a Robertson replacement? Yes, I would. I think that was a good signing by Spurs. Do you know, though, if I'm talking about Spurs signings, Van de Ven. Van de Ven feels like the one. And we were so strongly linked with him last summer. We had all the Wolfsburg stuff, the George Schmadtke link. I feel like that's one that got away from us. You know, there was even photos of him at Anfield attending a game when he was younger. That, to me, feels like a real missed opportunity. I would have loved Van de Ven at Liverpool. He's exactly the type of centre-back that I think many of us will get behind and enjoy. Did we turn down an offer for Morton? Yes, we did. This report said that the opening offer for Tyler Morton was rejected by Liverpool, but they're expecting a return with another offer. So I do think the stage is being set for Tyler Morton to depart this summer if the numbers reach that Liverpool want, which is 20 million according to reports. Did I cover the story about Rabiot? I didn't, Ryan, and the reason I haven't covered it is because it's absolute horseshit. Every time this chap has bled a club dry and is about to leave on a free, our name pops up in these negotiations. And every time our name pops up, the same conversation is had about his demands being ridiculous, his mother who represents him asking for crazy amounts of money, and one, I don't want them anywhere near Liverpool. And two, I'm fed up of, not at you, by the way, here, Ryan. I'm fed up of this lazy link with us and him every time he's bled another club dry and is about to leave. He's just not good enough, in all honesty. And I can't see him being a good addition to the squad. It's a no from me. It bangs of Manchester United, though. Tottenham leading the race to sign Eze, said Dave O'Cop. Dave O'Craig here told you that yesterday. Where were all these fucking geniuses yesterday when I was saying this? Isn't it mad that Anfield Agenda never gets an L mention anywhere on any of these? And the reason is because they know once they start putting us in the public domain, that's it, it's game over. Because once people come to our community, see the community, watch the content, get to chat with people, they stay around. And this is why I keep laughing at all this stuff, is because we've said stuff over the years before anybody else and never ever been credited anywhere for it. So yeah, Dave O'Cott may have said that, but I said it to you yesterday before any of these people. And it doesn't take rocket science, by the way. They're favourites because the bookies have them as favourites as well. They're even money. So that's how I figured it all out yesterday. But yeah, it's I don't know. What have we got? Edwards has done so much good work in the past, so let's trust the plan. I do, Tom. I trust Edwards. The people I don't trust are the people that sign his cheque. That's the people I don't trust. I don't trust John W. Henry, Tom Burner, and Mike Gordon, the FSG powerhouses. They're the ones who I don't trust in all of this because, where's the money, John? He's cheap. How do you think Liverpool will do in the Champions League next season? You'd have to say you'd back us to get out of the group, and we're as good as anybody in a knockout competition. So minimum quarter final, I think, should be the objective. But getting out of the group has to be a minimum. Sorry, I'm going through. Whose birthday was it? Alex? Was it your birthday? Your birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, Alex. Much love, my man. Hope you have a wonderful birthday. Right, we're at 387 likes. We've got half an hour to go. This is the time where I run through all the news. For those of you coming in, this is where I go do the recap for the next few minutes. So bear with me as I fly through all of today's news in one little monologue. So I will come back to the chat afterwards, don't worry. But I'm going to fly through the news now. Just let me get back to the start of my news. Cool, right. So bear with me. While I'm reading out this, you take a second there, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the stream. We're only 4 away from 800, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. Right, here's today's Liverpool transfer roundup. So, a pretty strange source has linked us with a move for Kvaratskhelia. So we've known about our interest in Kvaratskhelia from reports, but Clive Tidsley, is it Tidsley? Yes, Clive Tidsley. I thought it was Tilsley, but it's Tidsley. He's linked Liverpool with a move. Yes, the amazing veteran broadcaster, great commentator of football, seems like a lovely man as well. He's linked us with Kvaratskhelia, and I hope that there's some truth to that because it would be an interesting addition. The latest, though, with regards to Ederson, according to Fabrizio Romano, Matteo Moretto and some others, are that Liverpool do have an interest in signing the Bergamo-based midfielder, and I think Ederson would be the ideal signing for us this summer. 24 years of age, around 40 million. It ticks a lot of boxes for me. I've really been impressed with him every time I've watched them play for Atalanta, particularly in the games against us and the Europa League final. So I'd be all over it, but it remains to be seen if we actually follow through with an offer. Breaking news today coming out of Algeria is that Liverpool are in pole position to sign Wolves defender Rayan A. This is interesting because it's a link that goes back quite a way. We've been rumoured to be interested in this man for a while, and most of us agree with it would be a good signing. We did a poll on the channel earlier on. Over 1,000 people voted. 77% said yes, they would take AIT-NOURI. The interesting thing about this piece, though, is there's no price named in it. So obviously that would have to be a factor. But as a signing, if we were to move Costas on, I think AIT-NOURI would be a great addition to Liverpool's squad. A bit of a mad link here for a Leverkusen defender whose name I am about to absolutely make a mess of. But this from Anything Liverpool via Caught Offside have said, Liverpool have placed Odilion Kossano near the top of their list of targets. Sources with a close understanding of his situation have informed the outlet over in Germany that there is a strong interest in the Bayer Leverkusen defender from Liverpool. I know nothing about him, so over to you guys to fill me in on that. A little bit of a quote from Darwin Núñez, which I always like to read out when they're positive, said, "Today I get the number 9 at Liverpool and following the footsteps of the greats who have played here. I'm doing the best I can to bring joy to the club and to the fans. And I'm bagging him. 30 goals this season plus he's bagging. Sorry, I'm saying it. 30 plus goals for Darwin this season in all comps." More news around Calafiori. He's going to be available this summer. Bologna's director said, "We'll see after the Euros. We want to keep all of our players, including Calafiori." But then they go on to talk about the valuation. £40 million seems to be the number. The reason £40 million is the number is because they signed him for £6 million from Basel. Basel have a 40% sell-on clause in Calafiori, meaning anything above £6 million, they'll get 40% of, which is why they're looking to get as high a fee as they can, obviously. And Liverpool have been interested, Arsenal are interested, Juventus are interested. Where I hope we have the upper hand is the Sepp van den Berg interest from them, because if we can convince Sepp van den Berg to go there as a make-weight in the deal, he'd get Champions League football, he'd get the move away, they'd get a centre-back, and we'd get to bring in a centre-back. Bajcetic, good news on Stefan Bajcetic front. We know that he's going to be back at Kirby already, trying to make his way to full fitness for the new season, but he has not been included in the Spanish squad for the Olympics, which means he will get a full pre-season with Arne Slot and Liverpool, which I think is good news. The biggest laugh your ass off story of the day comes in from Dwight Yorke. I'm sorry, I'm biting my lip here to try and not laugh. Dwight Yorke has called on Manchester United to do everything they can to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold. Nothing else needs to be said. I'll move on from that one. Arsenal have joined the race for Calafiori. Then Liverpool transfer plan for Joe Matip replacement via the Athletic and LFC transfer room. They say that Liverpool are considering signing a defender in this market to come in and replace the outgoing Joe Matip. Kobe Mainoo likely to start for England in place of either Conor Gallagher or Trent for their game at the weekend. Bild over in Germany have said Joshua Kimmich would cost anybody who wants to sign him between 25 and 33 million pound, depending on which club comes in. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Barcelona and Real Madrid are the clubs named as the ones that he would be willing to move to. Then Mundo Deportivo said that Liverpool want to sign Nico Williams and have made inquiries on the player, while Barcelona are still looking to sign Luis Diaz. It goes on to say that Arne Slot is open to letting Diaz leave if they find a good replacement, and that's where Nico Williams could come in. On top of that, we've got a bit of a mad story from HITC and Graham Bailey that said Liverpool are interested in signing Arda Güler on loan from Real Madrid. For me, if you are to bring in a player like him on loan, you'd have to have a concrete guarantee at the end of it that if you wanted to sign him, it's locked in. Because you don't want him coming for a season, being amazing, and then going back to Real Madrid and us kind of looking around going, oh well. So, again, I wouldn't believe that one, but if it did happen, that would be the parameters of it for me. Another one that has come up is Rodrygo, and again, HITC and Graham Bailey have said that the representatives of Rodrygo have said to the player and are concerned about his lack of playing time for the coming season after the input of the likes of Endrick, Kylian Mbappe. They're worried that he's not going to get enough game time. Sport, who are a Spanish outlet, said that he's been unconvinced by their attempted reassurances over his playing time, and that maybe it's starting to dawn on him that a move away is likely. Another thing about Calafiori, said Liverpool have... What did they say? He's caught the eye of Liverpool, according to Gary Jacob. Then we had Triple H losing his damn mind. So, big fan of Hunter Hurst Helmsley. Big fan of Triple H. But when he comes out with a statement like this, you've got to say he's losing it. When you have the opportunity to bring two of the world's most passionate fan bases together, you take it. Excited to see this collaboration between the WWE and Manchester City. Do you want to tell him? Or will I? Because somebody needs to tell the poor man. And another thing today is Liverpool are set to secure Chelsea star. Liverpool are set to sign Chelsea youth talent Ryan McAdoo this summer, ahead of coach Arne Slot's first season in charge. It's believed that Arsenal tried to sign him at the last minute. Chelsea wanted to keep him, but Liverpool have got the player on board. He's signed with Trent Brothers Agency as well. He's believed to be an attacking midfielder / forward. And that's pretty much it where we are with the news today, ladies and gentlemen. PSG sources talking about Manchester United's offer for Ugarte at 25 million being half of what PSG want. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the news roundup. So if you came in late, that is where we're at with the news. Right, you're looking good today, Craig, said Joshua. Thank you, mate. I'll take that. I'll take any positive stuff I can get. Rachel, good night to you, my friend. What have we got? An obligation to buy for that loan. It'd have to be that. You know, you couldn't just bring him in and then take him and send him off. Like, you'd have to bring him in. If you did well, you'd want to be given an opportunity to sign him. What's this one? Sorry, this was a mail someone's just sent to me. So Fabrizio Romano, speaking about Eze and Liverpool, said nothing in advance at the minute. Situation still in the early stages. Nothing advanced for Liverpool. It's believed, though, that the smart money there is on Eze and Spurs, because they're the ones that are looking like they're making the biggest play for him. Certainly the bookies yesterday, when we looked at the odds, had him. I want to go back to something from yesterday before I finish up today, because we've got a bigger audience today, and I wanted to give this as much attention as I could because it really stood out to me. So, when I was on the Echo site yesterday and I finished reading whatever news story I was reading on it, there was a poll at the end of it. And in this poll, you were able to go through the entire Liverpool squad from top to bottom and say, sell or keep, sell or keep. And the results are ones that kind of took me back. Because at the top of the list with 97.3% was Alexis McAllister. Meaning 97.3% of people that voted said Liverpool should keep Alexis McAllister. That's not a surprise. Then we had Connor Bradley, Trent, Robbo, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai, Diogo Jota, Alisson Becker, all above 90%. It dropped down a little bit then for Bajcetic, Gakpo, Endo, Ben Doak. They were all above 80%. Then there was Kanade, Gomez, Bobby Clark, Ryan Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, Darwin Núñez, all in the 70% bracket. Luis Diaz, Anthony Gordon, I keep saying Anthony Gordon, Cade Gordon and Kevin Kelleher, all in the 60% bracket. But the lowest senior first team player was Salah, 53.7% of those that voted said that they wanted to keep Mohamed Salah, with the remainder saying they wanted to sell. That caught me by surprise. I know the contract situation would have a large part to play there, but so would Trent and Virgil's, and the difference is quite astounding. Remember, Liverpool fans that voted in that poll, 94% wanted Trent to stay, 92% wanted Virgil to stay, and they're in the same contractual situation as Salah. So I don't think it's just the contract situation with Mo. I think people genuinely feel we've seen the best of him and that he is on the start of his decline. Thoughts? Because it is an interesting one. If Trent and Virg had been low numbers as well, I would have thought, okay, it's the contractual situations, but it can't be just that. So what do you think about that one? Is it the right time? Are Liverpool fans maybe frustrated or nervous about it? Morton news. We spoke about Tyler Morton earlier on, mate. Liverpool rejected the first offer that have come in from him, and we're expecting more offers to come in. So Liverpool want 20 million for Tyler Morton. RB Leipzig are believed to be the ones with that offer. Salzburg also interested. Pep Linders wanted to bring him there, and I think a couple of championship clubs as well. Craig, with FFP coming into effect in a few days, doesn't seem to be much movement. It's not that it comes into effect, Dave. It's that the 3-year accounting period ends at the end of June when the club's financial years end. So we move into another 3-year swing then. So for clubs that need to free up money, yes, they're going to have to sell before the last day of June. But you're right, mate. It is kind of quiet at the minute. Liverpool, by the way, have £173 million wiggle room for there. So we're, way, way, way in the right direction. We don't have to concern ourselves with worrying about PSR. Would I take Kaku? I don't know too much about him, Santino, mate. Not to say if he's good enough for Liverpool or not. Craig, we're going to have the chat about Jota. He gets too many injuries. See, the reason I'm a little bit more relaxed about Jota is I don't really see him as a starting 11 player. I see him as a great rotational option, a brilliant substitute option, and because of that, I'm probably a little bit more understanding of the injury situation, because I don't think we're utterly reliant on him like we would be a Salah, a Darwin, let's say. So for me, maybe, I'm not saying I'm right, by the way, because other people might say you're just justifying his injuries, which I can understand as well. But I'm a little bit more understanding of it because he's not a strongest 11 player for me. What was the last statement signing by Liverpool? You'd have to say it was Darwin. If you don't agree with Darwin, then you're going back to Van Dijk and Alisson probably. But I think Darwin was a big statement signing because there was a lot of interest in him. It was a significant fee all in. If we hit all the targets, it was about €100 million. So, I think that's a big signing. Newcastle wanted him for a while. United, I think, looked at him, and Liverpool ended up getting him. So I'd say that. If you had to sign Caicedo last summer, that would have been a big statement signing. But you know what? Here's an answer for you that isn't a big statement on a financial standpoint, but is one hell of a statement to world football, and that's Alexis McAllister. He, to me, is the statement signing because he is an outstanding midfielder, a World Cup winner, an absolute bargain at the money we paid for him. And I still don't think that the world has woken up enough to quite what a get that was for Liverpool. It was an incredible signing. I'm hopeful for Darwin, said Colin. Yes, so am I. I feel like this is going to be it for Darwin this season. I do think he's going to... I always look at Darwin as somebody who will score in bursts. I don't think he's going to go through a season and score, every 1.5 games. I feel like he might score 2 or 3, then he mightn't score for a couple of weeks, then he might bag another one. I feel like he will do that, glutton, golden bunches kind of vibe, and I'm okay with that as well, as long as it ends up with a high number at the end of the season. Which current Liverpool player do you think would be a great pundit? Robbo. I think Verge is a bit laid back. I'm trying to think who speaks English as well as I'm going through the team. McAllister would be a very articulate pundit, I believe. Depends what you want from the pundit. If you want insight into football, I'm thinking the likes of Alexis McAllister would be very good. Dominic Soboslai would be good. Andy Robertson would be a bit of fun as well. Trent would be a great pundit, according to Connor. If Real came to us with 150 million for Trent, would you take it? Yes, I would. Because of the situation he's in now with his contract. But there's no way on earth they're coming with an offer of 150 million quid. Because I think if they do make a play for Trent, it'll be something like 60. With a warning that if he wants to come to Real Madrid, they'll get him for nothing in a year if Liverpool don't. Now, Liverpool would be able to get that, academy graduate fee from Madrid. But I think if they go outside of the Prem, it's only like 250 grand. So you'd be looking for a bigger number anyway. Don said, my view on Darwin is that Klopp's aura put him under pressure. Trying too hard for him. Under Slot, he will feel less in awe and will bring the goals. Well, Arne Slot did a great job as well with Santiago Jimenez. Turned him into a goal-scoring machine there. So maybe you can do the same with Darwin. I actually watched Jimenez last night. And I've got to say, he didn't impress me in the game I watched for Mexico. He looked very wasteful. Hard working, but I didn't see the class there. No, it was only one game, so. Would you sign Arda Güler? Yes, but I don't think it's a priority or it's a necessary signing. But if the opportunity came up, I don't like the idea of the loan, as I mentioned, unless there's a guaranteed option at the end of it. But yeah, 19-year-old player, undoubted talent. You'd have to say you'd be interested coming from Real Madrid as well. They're not going to have signed a player without him having something about him. I wouldn't be looking at his Euro form to make a decision either way, because that's always a scary thing if you're looking at somebody who just has a good Euros and then want to sign them. But he's a talent, definitely. Do I know if Slot speaks Spanish? Haven't got a clue. Right though, what I do know is a couple of things. One, tomorrow, of course, we'll be back live again at 8:30, another late night agenda, and we'll be putting out a video at 5 p.m, a news video as we always do. Saturday is going to be my day off from live streaming, so we'll be putting out a couple of videos on Saturday as well. I got a great suggestion for a video to record from somebody in Discord earlier on, so I'm gonna rob that idea from them. I want to just remind you guys again of a couple of things. If you want to come to see us in Liverpool or Cardiff, the last 2 live stage shows we're going to do as a channel, you can get your tickets with the link in the description at the top of the chat or by scanning the QR code. All ages events and 15 quid a ticket. What else we got? Apparently we could turn Calafiori into a left back like Ake. We need a centre-back though, so we'll turn him into a centre-back first, it'd be nice. But I get where you're coming from, but I do think we need a centre-back. Did you know that Klopp learned English from a friend with German subtitles? I did not know that, no. There you go. I always wished I could speak a second language, by the way, but I can't. So, right, look, my friends, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Do drop a like before you head off me. Let's get that up over 500. There's 35 left to go. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you to Connor for his help in the background tonight, as always. Thank you to you guys for tuning in. No Euros again tomorrow, so we will be back, and hopefully you guys will be tuning into a little bit more news than we had today. Much love. Have a